Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
And the budget will balance itself.
Do I have to sue CNN?
Legacy doesn't mean nothing. I'm gonna die and it's gonna be over.
Welcome, it's Hergidius. So another anti-Indian explosion happened on X recently, and it has to do with this. Vivek Ramaswamy, former presidential candidate and strong advocate for Doge, now running for Ohio state governor, posted a patriotic picture of himself and his family visiting World War II veterans. Of course, the second he posted this, there was an absolute deluge of "fuck you, you're not American" coming from the selfish, obese, ignorant, woke right. You're Indian. How many Indians fought on D-Day? Where was Ramaswamy's family during World War II combat? Remember that America's an ethnicity. You're not American. No matter how hard you try to appear to be American, it won't be true. Don't worry, we'll get to those comments about not being there on D-Day, which means the World Wars, soon enough. Now this is how vain and fragile many Americans actually are. Vivek wrote books about criticizing wokeism and spent every opportunity to appear in public basically humping the great qualities of America and its people everywhere he has gone in recent years. There was one instant during the outbreak of the rage against the H-1B visas and Indians where he said it would benefit Americans to take technical studies more seriously and have it featured more prominently in the culture. And that statement made the hippo-faced hillbilly Americans cough and spit up their fries and drop their cokes and completely lose their minds from that point on. Like, what the fuck? Oh, man. However, there are still some people with sense out there who were more than ready to come to his defense. Jean Lefebvre, so-called conservatives attacking JD and Vivek are gross. Their families are legal second-generation immigrants who embody American ideals, hard work, patriotism, family, and merit. I.O. The ugliness on the right toward Indian Americans, the most successful ethnic group, is on full disgusting display in the replies. Anna Gorsuch, Vivek is a natural-born citizen, you racist fuck. This ethnic American shit is giving me the creeps. Now, Vivek is a born and raised American. Some useless fucks like to argue he can't be American because his parents who were in the country legally weren't citizens at the time of his birth. I don't know about that, but what I do know is he's only lived and paid taxes in America. He lived his whole life publicly in America, and no prior administration has had an issue with it. A real point of contention were these ignorant obese fucks saying Indians had shit all to do with the World War II, like this idiot, David Santa Carla. However, he quickly got educated by posts like this, and I couldn't help myself, so I got in on it here too. In fact, let's run through some of the history involving Indian involvement in the World Wars. Here's some pics from the Indian History Pics X account. To get into some of the details of India's participation, mylearning.org did a report on India's role in World War I. India was a major source of human and other resources for the British Empire during World War I. After the Caribbean plantation colonies declined, India became the major supply of cash crops such as jute, cotton, tea to Britain during the war. In terms of other resources, India also exported materials such as leather, clothes for the army, railway tracks, and army ammunition. A publication by the Indian government in 1919 lists the amount of many goods and resources exported from India to Britain for the war effort, including 172,815 animals. India also contributed immensely toward the demand of cereals and other food shortages during the war. This led to the sudden rise of food prices in India, which burdened the urban poor and agricultural laborers in India who depended on this market for their everyday needs. The value of all the materials sent by India for the war amounted to £250 million. India also made a direct cash contribution of £229 million. Here's a chart showing the contribution of a range of materials by India to the World War effort, indicating a total of 2.7 million plus pounds of food. Indian manpower was there too. In addition to material aid, India's most valuable contribution was in terms of the men who fought in the war as part of the British Indian Army between 1914 and 1918. Some 1.3 million Indian soldiers served overseas, with nearly 74,000 dying. Some of the battlefronts where Indian soldiers fought included the Western Front, East and West Africa, Gallipoli, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Palestine. Soldiers of undivided India won over 9,200 decorations for gallantry, including 11 Victoria Crosses. Let's have a quick rundown of India's World War II contribution gathered here by ChatGPT. Manpower: over 2.5 million Indians volunteered, making it the largest volunteer army in history. They served in North Africa, Europe, and Asia, fighting in key campaigns such as El Alamein, Italy, and Burma. Casualties: around 87,000 Indian soldiers died in combat, with many more wounded or captured. With 1.3 million fighting in World War I and 2.5 million fighting in World War II, and about 160,000 Indians dying between the two wars, not one significant documentary or movie was made about them, simply allowing them to be forgotten by history. Which is why any Indian involvement at all must be a surprise to so many people. Here we see a table of material contribution by India to the World War II effort. We have nearly 200 million tons of coal, 6 million tons of iron ore, which is a key ingredient for making steel, a war value contribution of $1.3 billion, a phenomenal amount for the time, hundreds of millions of pieces of clothing, boots, and parachutes produced, 1.5 million parcels of food for the Allies to eat, and a sterling balance of $1.5 billion. I mean, just to imagine the amount of manpower, raw and finished resources, the straight cash and gold, and the number of countries involved to defeat just 3 countries, Germany, Japan, and Italy, is staggering. One would think that India's huge contribution gave the Allies the edge they needed to finish and win the war, turning these skeptics saying Indians don't have any right to be patriotic in the West into nothing more but cockwipes for Indian men to clean themselves off with. Here's a short video of Indian soldiers arriving for action in World War II.
To France. These are the first pictures to be released of the arrival of a contingent of Indian troops. Once again, these hardy little men from the hills and the plains have come to fight for Britain in their own individual way. And Germany well knows that there are no more fearless fighters in the world. They have brought to France their own food, their water carriers and their mules, and the mules don't think much of us. This rich jewel of the Empire's crown is given without stint to the cause of the Allies. Princes and Rajas have offered their wealth and their swords. The sons of the Raj have offered their strength and their loyalty to the King Emperor. From Lahore and Calcutta they have come. From Delhi, from Hyderabad and Bhopal. From the Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal, India stands with Britain.
If you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and if you have any thoughts of your own, leave a comment down below. I'll see you next time.